What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while since we last spoke, but here I am now, and for some reason I decided I'm going to give you guys an inside look at my factory Orion race bike, my Rxb 170, which started life as an Rxb 150. I'll explain more of that in detail when we get into the shop and I'll show you guys the bike. But it's no secret, I have been racing for Orion Power Sports for probably going on 3 months now, and here in a second I'm going to show you guys my factory rig. Not really a rig, it's not an RV, it's a bike, but still, yeah man, I've been racing for Orion for about 3 months, and we just finished another version of my bike. Right now I'm the points leader in a series called Crosstown Series, which is between two tracks, Village Creek MX in Fort Worth, Texas, and then River Valley MX in Boyd, Texas. We actually have a big race coming up, round 4 this weekend at River Valley, and I'm gonna go try to extend my points lead. I had a mishap at Village Creek at practice. I ended up cutting off most of my finger, in the bike that I'm about to show you guys. But a little less of me rambling. Let's get out in the shop and take you guys over my factory rig. All right, there she is. I really don't know where to begin, but here is my factory Orion Rxb race bike. It is a 170cc. It's got the TB parts big board kit on it. I'll explain more to that when we get into the engine. It's also backed by Bike Graphics. They are my graphic sponsor. A lot of other guys on the team, we all have our different graphics and stuff like that. But this was the look that I wanted to go for the bike. These are my favorite colors. I love flow yellow because it resembles a real close color to like the monster green, but just a little bit brighter. So I like it. It dialed in the bike pretty nicely. But I'm going to go over this bike in details with you guys because I've been getting a lot of questions. A lot of people have been asking my setup and they want to do stuff similar. And this is fairly inexpensive. I mean, there's a little bit of money tied into it, but there's a lot of help from sponsors and stuff like that. And definitely a lot of help from Orion itself, because without these guys, this bike wouldn't be possible. And without all the sponsors, this bike wouldn't be possible. So let's go ahead and dive into it in depth. All right, we'll start out with the motor. This is a YX150 bored out to a 170cc. It's got the TB parts big bore kit on there. That's what this cylinder is. The engine comes all black. It is a electric start YX150, which makes my life so much easier. It's complemented by a Nibby 28mm carb, and usually we run uni filters on it. The filter's somewhere over there. I got it taken off because this motor is getting ready to come out of this bike for another engine for this weekend. It's dressed up with the TB parts red anodized kit, which is also coming off. I'm going to be throwing a black anodized and gold kit on there. Something to kind of complement the bike a little bit better. It's just got a regular stock cylinder head on there. No port, no polish, none of stuff like that. I did have the TB Parts V2 race head on there, but we dropped the valve and we decided that we'd go ahead and go back with just the stock head and do the 170 bore. And so far the bike's been more than enough power. It's been crazy. It was actually crazy enough that it cut off my finger. But there you go, you can see it right there. It's got the casting for the TB parts on there. We do run a big bore exhaust. This is a 32mm exhaust right here. It just goes back to the stock can. This exhaust you can get on the stock RXBs. They come on the 150s. I was running a Big Gun Evo when I had the V2 head, but we went ahead and put this bad boy on here and it runs just fine for the jetting in the carb and everything that goes with it. It also has an oil cooler, which comes with it as well. And then we have a high spark ignition coil, and then we run a C7 plug in there, but I think I'm gonna go to a C8. I think I'm gonna go one step colder on the plug. Not too sure. We'll get that dialed in here soon. Handlebar choice. I am sponsored by Mica Metals, so it's only right that I run Mica Metal pit bike bars. A lot of people get the bends confused, or just the bars in general confused. These are the Mica PBLs, which is the pit bike low. A lot of guys run the highs on the KLXs and the CRF 110s, but my bike is a little bit bigger because it resembles a KTM 65. So, and we have these taller riser mounts, which these are actually lower than the ones that come on the stock RXB. I went ahead and went with the shorter one because of just the firm, or not the firmness, but the height and the way it feels with the bars, because these are pit bike lows, but they're not as low as your average MX bar. So I went ahead and went with the PBLs. I run these on everything. I actually ran these on the Apollo my old Apollo race bike as well. As for the controls, we have the ASV replicas. There's our ASV replica clutch lever. They are unbreakable, which I'm pretty sure they'll break if you hit it hard enough. Any and everything will, so I don't know why they call them unbreakables. We'll just call them foldable for now. And then take it over here. We have the unfoldable brake lever as well. All right, grip choice. This will be my first time running a non-waffle grip, or either a non-real grippy grip. I know that just sounds really goofy, but I normally run the ODI Rogues. ODI is another sponsor that backs this bike right here. These are the ODI Troy Lee collaboration grips, and pretty much the only one in this color that I could find that was ODI. I would have went with black if I couldn't find them anyways, because I was getting a little tired of the Rogue grips that we were running, because I run Rogues on everything, but these just feel real great. So I went ahead and put them on the bike, and haven't really got to ride it on the track yet. We'll do some testing here tomorrow, and then we'll have a break, and then we'll go into racing. But for now, I like them. They feel really good. They feel comfortable, and they got a lot of grip. All right, we got your basic kill switch on the bars, and then we come over to this one right here. This is the start button, because like I said, it's electric start. We have our on and off switch, and you hit this button, it fires right up. Throttle choice. This throttle has been with me for plenty of bikes, and that's because I love it. I love the response, and for what it is, it's lightweight. It is a quarter turn throttle, nothing fancy. It's the billet aluminum housing, but we also run the plastic throttle tube, because a lot of the times when you get those billet ones, the full billet, it I don't know, if you don't get it tightened right enough, or if you don't keep it real lubed, it'll start getting stuck and the metal will grind, and then you have a lot of shavings off in there, and you don't want that to char your cable and be riding and your cable snap because it's grinding against metal. So I like to run the plastic tube with the aluminum housing, and yeah, the quarter turn throttle, I like it a lot. It's real snappy. It makes life a lot easier too when maintaining this, because like I said, the metal to metal likes to get stuck inside each other, and it's just a really tight fit. So we like to run the quarter turn with plastic. All right, give you guys a better look at the graphics kit Bike Graphics just knocked out for me. It's got all the sponsors on there. They went ahead and did the black, the white, and the flow yellow accent. It is beautiful. I couldn't ask for a better graphic sponsor, and I couldn't ask for these graphics to turn out any better than they have. They are absolutely beautiful, and it complements the bike so well. It just looks amazing. And then of course, you know, they added my name up there. And then you got to represent for TB parts, man, because without TB parts, this motor wouldn't be ripping as hard as it is. But check it out, man. These graphics are so sweet. They make the bike just look amazing. All right, wheel setup. We have the Piranha V4 front wheel with the billet aluminum hub, and then the rim itself is aluminum as well. We come over here. We have the 220 front brake rotor, which is a lot larger than a lot of bikes. A lot of bikes stop at either 200 or 190, but I run a 220 front brake rotor because of the dual piston caliper that we use. And it is pretty nice. It's got a lot of stopping power. The wheel itself is really light. We move on to our back wheel. I had the Piranha V4 on the rear, but I went ahead and moved on to an Orion rear wheel. I just felt it was a little bit firmer, a little bit stronger. I've already gone through like probably 3 wheels so far this season, but that's my fault, not really the wheel company's fault. Definitely not Piranha's fault. That's my fault for sending things I shouldn't be sending. In the rear, we run a 200 only on a single piston caliper. I will be changing over to a dual piston caliper here soon, probably not this week, but here in the near future. All right, as for the chain and gearing, I am running a 15 up front, 15 428, and in the rear, I am running a 41 428. I will be changing that over to either a 39 or a 40, but I will be staying with the 15 up front. As for a chain, we run the 428 Pro Taper chain. Real nice chain, real easy to keep lubed up, doesn't stretch as much. I just had a lot of good luck with these chains, so we run these, and yeah, there it is. All right, as for the tires, I get a lot of people asking me what tires these are because they see them in the pictures and they look like they are real meaty. So, being sponsored by Dunlop, it's real easy to get Dunlops. I've ridden everything from their sand tire to the MX-33s to the MX-52s, but my all-time favorite tire is Dunlop's MX-53. These are the Geomax MX-53s. Real meaty, knobby tires for all kinds of dirt, intermediate tracks, all kinds of different terrains. And they kind of handle good when we're testing and just going through the bike and we're riding on the streets. But I run an MX-53 in the rear, and I also run an MX-53 up front. Big shout out to Dunlop. They have been helping out with tires and stuff like that for a while now, and without them, it would be impossible to go racing. All right, so you guys know this isn't my typical seat, and as you can see, the foam still has the ribs and stuff in it. This is the stock Orion seat. I am waiting on Bike Graphics to send me the new seat cover so I can get my new seat put together and foamed up. They're not foamed up, but put together and covered up. So for now, it's just got the stock Orion seat on there. Nothing fancy. Also, you guys know I used to run billet gas caps. It doesn't really make a difference. The only color they make them in, since this is a KTM 65 in billet, is orange. So if anybody knows where to get a different color one, let me know. But for now, the stock one will do. I know I've already spoke on the exhaust, but we'll go ahead and go over it anyways. 32 millimeter big bore, just a stock can that comes on your typical Orion RXB 150s. It is your typical 32 millimeter exhaust. Now moving on to one of the most important parts of the bike. Now this is the one I get a lot of DMs and messages on Instagram, on here, on Facebook, is the suspension. My front suspension is Apollo Volt. These are Apollo Volt forks. They are 760 millimeters. Stock is 780 millimeters on the Orion RXB, but I like to run the 760s. It puts the front at a perfect angle, especially with the rear suspension that I set up. It is 20 weight. We put 20 weight fluid in there, kind of gave them like a supercross feel for some of the tracks we ride with whoops, but they complement the bike very well, and like I said, it keeps the ride height at the perfect balance. And these forks are just real great. They're super good. These right here are not your typical Orion forks though. They are not the ones that come on the RXFs or the RFZs. You have to order these specifically through Apollo. They're called the Volt. I want to say 2.0s, I believe. But yeah, I run Apollo Volt forks on here with the Apollo clamps and stuff as well. And as I said before, with the risers, I use the shortened risers. That these bikes normally come with the risers that are probably about another half inch to an inch taller. Hey guys, as you can see, my rear suspension is also adjustable too as well. Let's see if we can get up in there. I run an 850 pound spring rate on a D&M MK rear shock with a 1-inch extension. I don't know if you guys can see the extension in there, but I run an extension on this bike. It sets up just perfect because it's really hard to find the 12-inch D&M, so we just use an 11 and run an inch extension. But this is the D&M MK AR shock, and as you can see, there is the inch spacer in there. It just makes the bike sit at the perfect height. And a lot of people run 250, 350, and they try to tell you that you need to run what they run, but a lot of us ride different. It doesn't really matter what, I mean, it does kind of play a part with your weight, but it's also the type of tracks and stuff that you're riding. I ride big tracks. We don't race pit bike tracks on this bike. It's very often that we will race on a pit bike track, but we ride big tracks, and for those ruts and for those brake bumps, the 850 pound spring comes in handy, along with the 20 weight oil inside the front shock or the front forks. But there she is. There you guys have it, man. That is a look inside my factory RXB Orion race bike. Like I said, this motor is getting ready to come out of this bike. We're doing another engine swap. I will be racing just a 150cc this weekend, especially having part of my finger missing. It's kind of hard to hold on to all the snappy power with that 170, so I think the 150 for this weekend a compliment as well. We should be able to keep points or either extend our points lead. We'll be changing out the dress-up kit and stuff on the head on the new motor. It won't be the red, so it'll look a little bit better on the bike. You guys will see the pictures and stuff on Instagram. But yeah, there she is, man. There is my factory race bike right there. She's beautiful. The number 191 is still flying. She's looking great. And I can't wait to get on the track this weekend. So, I will see you guys in the next video. Appreciate you guys for watching. I'm out.